Hey guys, before we get into this video, I want to quickly thank F1WL, the league that this whole video is kind of centered around. They're a cross-platform F122 league, and you guys should all definitely join. The champions now have a prize pool of over 1,600 British pounds. I have no idea what that is in USD because I am too lazy to look that up, to be honest. Sorry. So they're a cross-platform league, and you guys should definitely all join. It's so much fun. It's a very competitive league as well, so if you're there for fun and competitiveness, it's kind of a great mix of both. So go to the link in my description. It's a Discord link. It's a Discord server. Sign up for yourself. It's a great 4-tier system, so we all have opportunities to win. So thank you so much to F1WL, and enjoy the rest of this video. Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another league racing video. We're here on F1WL in Bahrain for pre-season testing, and I'm sorry there's no game audio. Unfortunately, OBS decided to just not record the game audio. But we're here in F1WL Bahrain. We're in Tier 2, the second highest tier. And we're back with Mercedes. This is the preseason testing, obviously. So this is just kind of to feel where everybody is in terms of speed for this tier, in case like they've missed anything, so they need to demote you or anything. So here we are in qualifying for the preseason testing, and here we are for our first lap. I'm feeling pretty confident right now, considering that this is one of my better tracks, Bahrain. And you might actually notice that in the HUD, there's no ERS management going on, because what I like to do for qualifying is go for the first run is a double run, one without ERS, and the second one with ERS, just to set like a few bench times and then go for a few single runs. So now we're going out with the one with no ERS currently. We're going through the end of Sector 1 through the little S section, 5th gear through here. And yes, I do have the racing line on as we go transition to the end of this lap, the no ERS lap, as we transition now into the ERS lap, right? As we go across the line, heavy braking into turn 1, down to 2nd gear through the corner, getting on the power as soon as possible. Yellow flags for people stopping on track to let other cars by. Flick the DRS open, and around medium braking through this corner, Williams gets out of the way of McKeel, who's actually the owner of this league, actually, funnily enough. Through the S section, down to 5th gear, early on the power again. Get past, I think that's the Ferrari. This section is, for me, the hardest around here. This corner coming up, this one right here is definitely the worst corner in, I think, F1 history. So yeah, I really hate that corner as we go with DRS down the back straight with medium braking into here, going down to 4th gear. And you can see here, this is the line I usually take, which will actually cut people a few, like a tenth and a half. It will compromise you for the next corner, but you'll gain more than you lose, to be honest. It gains you actually a pretty decent amount of time. So I do recommend for your next league race to go with that line as we go with heavy braking into medium braking into the last corner, 3rd gear, early on the power. And what's it going to be? It's going to be a 129.5, a 5/10 improvement, but it only puts us around P8, which is not where we want to be. We want to aim for a top 5 finish. And now we go for a few single runs. This is our first single run. So this is with very low fuel, and this is full ERS push mode. Going down to turn 1, we're already around 200ths down somehow already. I was a bit confused by that, but going into the second DRS zone, we start to still lose time, unfortunately. But medium braking into this corner, gain a few. There we go. There's the green. As again, we get on the power quite early. Go through the X section, still gaining quite a bit of time. So around 2/10 up, and then at this point I was feeling, because the gap I was told to pole was around 8/10, so I was like, oh, I'm feeling a bit confident, but then braking way too late, way too late, and losing all the time that I've gained throughout the entire lap. And that was really, really, really frustrating, because that felt like that could have been a pretty good lap that put us into P5. That could have been. And I'm still here. I'm still trying to salvage something, but at this point, I'm like, there's no point. I can't really save this lap, so I just back off, head into the pits, change the tires, put a little more fuel in there, and we go for another one. This is our second run. Again, starting the lap 200ths down. Heavy braking into turn 1. Not really gaining that much time, even losing more time. Around a 10th loss right now as the checkered flag goes, as yellow flags a little bit more. I think that's an Aston Martin pulling off to the side. Braking in there, slight green, but we went a little bit too wide. We still gain a little bit of time, but we still go a little bit too wide through the S section. Finally is green, but not by much, to be honest. Not by much. As there, we messed up actually the last lap. We also went too deep, and we go too deep once more. And now this is where we really messed up, but we actually take that pretty decently, but clobbering the curb, which doesn't gain us the maximum amount of time. Does gain us a little bit of time, but doesn't gain us as much as we could have. Now going through the medium braking corner, cutting, going wide. Still down, and finally we get up a little bit into the green. Again, not by much, but we're still pushing down this kind of back straight area as well. Heading down to the last corner, checking if we still have hot lap mode engaged. And going all the way to the line. What will it be? Just barely an improvement, just enough for P15, which was, to be honest, that was pretty gutting, because we prepared all the time, but we didn't have much time to be mad over it, because we're straight into the race as 5 lights go out. They're rushing into the race as the AlphaTauri has a bad start, but the Williams and the Haas zooming through us, and the McLaren has a pretty decent start. We bank off really early just to make sure we don't get any cars. Starting on the hard tires, so the warm-up isn't going to be great. As the Alfa Romeo spins, and then there's another Alfa spins, and there's cars, and then here I got tagged by the McLaren, but then I have that, I could have kept going, but that overcorrection killed the car, basically. I got hit, and I way overcorrected, and that ended up spinning me completely out. I'm back down in, I believe, 13th place, just in front of the McLaren that, I believe that was the McLaren that hit me, which was unfortunate. But our teammate is actually ahead of us, who was also, unfortunately, stuck in that collision, as you see me going into neutral on accident. Just so frustrated with myself, because I knew if I just didn't have that overcorrection, I knew I could have just kept going and probably been in a pretty good position, as we're still behind one of the Alfa Romeos who actually spun, as we now transition to the end of the safety car period, lap 3, I believe. Trying to warm up these hard tires, going into second and third. We're going to try to choose second for a better lap, but then right here, right at the exit, for some reason it did not let me shift up into third. For some reason it did not let me shift up to third, and that caused me to over rev and lose a lot of time, as you can see, as McKeel is trying to overtake me down the inside. Does he send it? He does send it down the inside into turn 1. I go, to be honest, a little bit too cautious. I could have probably squeezed him out just a little bit more. As we're going down the second DRS straight, unfortunately no DRS right now, obviously, since it's a safety car restart, but we're actually gaining a little bit of time through those corners. We're just trying to push and try to get onto the back of these guys and survive from McKeel and Henry actually behind, because he has the medium tires on. And it was just because the tires fell as Swinners, I believe, in the AlphaTauri spins. It's frustrating because this game with the new tire model from last year, it's so hard to judge the tires if they're too cold, if they're too hot. But right now, it's just feeling all out of whack. The tires are feeling weird. They're cold, but they're somehow wearing at a high level. I feel like it might have been something to do with my setup. I believe it's unfortunately, my teammate ST spins, I believe, or got hit. I don't fully know. But it was so frustrating because I didn't know what was going on with my tires. And I put the tire pressures pretty low because that could have been probably the reason why, to be honest. But if you put the pressures low, it could be, you have a less chance of it spinning. As we transition, there's another incident into a safety car right here, another glitch where I'm stopped. I'm going at 16, 14, 13 miles an hour, and the delta isn't really going, and that's another problem with this game, unfortunately, which is the delta, especially under safety car, especially when you're at the back of the field, for some reason, just always glitches out. And it's so frustrating especially when you're fighting someone, you have to stomp on the brake, try to get the delta down. As I go into the pits, I'm gonna pit here for mediums, I believe. Yes, it's the mediums. It's the medium tires. Trying to put that on, praying to myself that these tires can last a long way. As we transition now to the end of the safety car period, trying to warm these tires, trying to have a better restart. As my overtake's already enabled, I'm just trying to you see I locked into third gear just to make sure I don't have that same glitch where I'm stuck in second gear but I lose the back end. Tire's still cold, and I have another not so great restart. Already 7/10 down. It's going down, but it's still 7/10. As you can see here, I thought I was going to brake a little bit too late and I got out of the way, which was a mistake. So the Ferrari of Chaz is challenging me as more carnage. But you actually see Chaz and Horonsky in front of me. Chaz behind me and Horonsky in front of me both have drive-through penalties. So I saw that and I was pretty happy. So I knew I was around a net P6, around P6, P7. I knew that this could actually turn out to be a pretty good race, sitting in right now P8 from P15. That could have been really good. But again, the tire deg for some reason was so high for me. It's unusual, but it was so high for me that these tires are already starting to feel already horrible. It's only been a lap or two on these tires, and it's just feeling understeery, oversteery at the same time as Chaz nearly hits the back of me. Going through the long right-hander. Still trying to keep these guys behind. It was so difficult, but we're starting to catch up to the back of Horonsky. That's at least something. We're not deploying much right now. We're just looking back, see where that Ferrari is, judge if he can make a move if we have to deploy. Trying to stick in that slipstream of Horonsky. As Chaz now, I'm pretty sure he was deploying back then. But I thought, he's not going to be able to send it from there. But he nearly does. He nearly sent it from there. I was like, that took me back to Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc and the real life Grand Prix. As Chaz now has a really good exit. So I move to the middle of the circuit. Try to force him out. Get ahead of him. But no, he sticks there. And he's going to go around the outside. Try to go down the inside. But there's just not enough grip. And now follow him, and I try to switch back down the inside. But again, not enough grip to have a good exit. And I see ST Places behind me. And I thought there's no point. Just let him by. See there, lift. The lift to let ST by. And just try to stick to the back of these guys. Worst comes to worst. Still in a pretty decent position. Still around P7 with the 2 drive-thrus. So I'll be okay as we transition, as we are in P7, still fighting the Alpha Tauri. Still trying to keep on the back of ST, but as you can see, the gap, 1.6 seconds, is just absolutely horrible. Trying to stick there, just trying everything I can to stick to the back of them, and nothing's really working. Swinners is catching up to me, but it's still P7. So I thought, if I do have to, worst comes to worst, I probably have to leave the position to Swinners. Which I mean, P8 from P15 was, in my mind, still pretty good. So I'm still battling just judging where I can try to gain time, but nothing's really happening. As the start of this clip was 1.6 seconds to ST, it's now 2.5. I'm losing that much time. That's just, the DEG maybe? I don't fully know, as we got our first check limit this morning. But then, the worst thing happens. Right here, as you can see the game kind of freezing. OBS decides to not just leave out the game audio, it decides to crash. And somehow, it crashes my Xbox with it. Somehow. And I was freaking out at this point, trying to get in, trying to figure out what was happening, try to restart OBS, nothing was working, so I finally got the Xbox on. And this next clip's from the Twitch stream from F1WL. But yeah, as you can see on the mini map, I'm going through the right-hander there. As you can see on the mini map, the light blue followed by the red, and right then I'm binned into the wall at the yellow flag. I'm hit into the wall. So what happened was it basically spat me out right in front of the Alfa Romeo, and then the AI just decided to slam on the brake for some reason. As soon as it put me in, I wasn't even in control. It just slammed on the brake and just, unfortunately, basically brake tested the Alfa Romeo, and he couldn't really do anything. Which unfortunately meant I ended up in P13 with a DNF. But, you know, it's only preseason testing. But there will be a video on the actual first round. But if you guys did enjoy this, please leave a like on the video, and I'll hopefully see you guys from round 1. Thank you so much, and goodbye.